A fatal road accident involving a driver who got out of his car after colliding with another vehicle and was knocked down by an oncoming truck. President Xi Jinping leaves for South Africa to attend the BRICS summit. And the first tropical storm to hit Southern California in 84 years. Hello and welcome to TVB News. Two private cars collided this morning near the Kowloon-bound entrance of the Thailam Tunnel. The drivers parked the cars on the highway shoulder, and one of them got out of his vehicle to assess the damage. He was hit by a truck and died in hospital. The truck driver was arrested on suspicion of dangerous driving and causing death. Mimo Singhai reports.
After the incident, the truck was parked near the Kowloon-bound entrance of the Thailam Tunnel. The right front of the vehicle was damaged. Personal belongings are scattered across the ground, including a watch and a mobile phone. The two private cars were parked nearby, with one of the drivers sitting inside his vehicle. Scratches and dents can be found on both vehicles. The 32-year-old truck driver was led to a police car. At around 6:30 this morning, the two private cars were traveling towards Kowloon. The vehicles collided as they approached the entrance of the tunnel. The two drivers then parked their cars on the highway shoulder. One of them then got off the vehicle to assess the damage. However, an oncoming truck did not stop in time and knocked down the 53-year-old driver. The victim was sent to Yanchai Hospital, where he was pronounced dead. Following the accident, all Kowloon-bound lanes of the Thailam Tunnel were temporarily closed to vehicles, and one-ship two-way traffic arrangements was implemented. Today's accident is not the first of its kind in the city. Some passengers have been hit by vehicles after getting off from crashed vehicles on the highway. Ringo Lee, president of the Hong Kong Automobile Association, said drivers and passengers should preferably get off the vehicle from the left, a safer side than the right where there are usually other traffic lanes. Lee added that drivers should stay cautious whenever they are on the road. Mimo Singhai, TVB News.
The police said online shopping scams reported in the first half of the year involved some $100 million. The force plans to combat such crimes by rolling out its suspicious indicator warning mechanism by the end of the year. Around 4,900 online scams have been reported in the first half of the year. That's an increase of more than 20% over the same period last year. Over the past 2 weeks alone, the police have cracked 266 scams valued at $3.5 million and arrested 50 people between the ages of 15 and 52. Authorities said some scammers have, in recent days, been impersonating buyers of luxury goods. Police will strengthen cooperation with the banking sector to implement a warning mechanism to identify suspects. Mainland state security authorities have accused a government worker of spying for the CIA. It's the second high-profile espionage case publicized this month. According to the State Security Ministry, the 39-year-old Chinese national, surnamed Hao, was recruited by the CIA while studying in Japan. The ministry said Hao became acquainted with a U.S. embassy official known as Ted while sorting out a visa application in Japan. Ted allegedly invited Hao for dinners, presented gifts, and paid him to help write a research paper. Ted introduced Hao to a colleague who later revealed himself as a CIA officer and asked Hao to return to China to work for a core and critical unit. Hao signed an agreement with the U.S. and received training. The State Security Ministry said Hao, upon returning to China, landed a job at a government ministry and allegedly provided the CIA with intelligence and collected espionage funds. Ecuador's elections are heading for a presidential runoff between two vastly different candidates. Neither Luisa Gonzalez nor Daniel Noboa secured enough votes to take them past the winning threshold. Another contest between the two is expected in October. Amid tight security, left-wing Gonzalez came to vote. Authorities deployed more than 100,000 police and soldiers to protect the vote against violence. Voting was peaceful. Early results released by the National Election Council showed Gonzalez ahead of the 7 other candidates with 33%. Noboa was in a surprise second place with 24%. He is the son of a prominent banana businessman. President Xi Jinping has departed for Johannesburg, South Africa, where he will attend the 15th BRICS summit and partake in a state visit to the Rainbow Nation. Potential expansion of the BRICS group is set to be high on the agenda during the summit. Daniel Rao tells us more.
Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and South African President Cyril Ramaphosa will be at the summit alongside President Xi Jinping. President Xi will also co-chair the China-Africa Leaders Dialogue during his state visit to South Africa. The main summit on Wednesday and sideline meetings on Tuesday and Thursday are expected to produce general declarations of more cooperation among countries in the global south. This amid rising discontent over the perceived Western dominance of global affairs. Russian President Vladimir Putin will appear by video link. This as he is constrained by an international criminal court arrest warrant related to the ongoing war in Ukraine. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov said Putin will still have full-fledged participation in Wednesday's main summit session. Having halted a deal allowing the passage of grain out of Ukraine last month, analysts say Putin might use the BRICS gathering to announce more free Russian grain shipments to developing countries. One of the key topics of discussion is set to be the potential expansion of BRICS. Both China and Russia are in favor of adding more countries to the group. A South African official expressed optimism that the summit will have a positive outcome.
This summit is taking place at a very critical moment in time when we have major global challenges. So there's high expectations that BRICS will send out positivity in terms of the global challenges and also look at working together in addressing the current global architecture that is so outdated, unfair, and that is not inclusive of Africa and the global south.
Daniel Rao, TVB News.
Still ahead, the Netherlands and Denmark say they will give F-16 fighter jets to Ukraine. In Japan, Prime Minister Fumio Kishida meets with fishery leaders ahead of an announcement on the release of treated nuclear wastewater into the sea. And inflation in the city eases slightly. Welcome back. Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida said today his government would take full responsibility to ensure safety for the country's fishing industry after releasing water from the Fukushima nuclear plant site. On Sunday, the Prime Minister visited the plant and oversaw wastewater filtering and dilution facilities. Kishida, alongside Economy and Industry Minister Yasutoshi Nishimura, met Masanobu Sakamoto, the head of the National Federation of Fisheries Cooperative Associations, today to offer safety assurances about the water. Sakamoto said he remained concerned about the discharge. Kishida is set to determine the release date on Tuesday, despite objections at home and abroad. The water has been used to cool nuclear reactors damaged in 2011 by tsunami waves. It has been treated to remove most radioactive elements. However, the water still contains tritium, an isotope of hydrogen that must be diluted because it is difficult to filter. Southern California is bracing for more floods and possible reports of serious damage. This after Hillary, the first tropical storm to hit the region in 84 years, dumped more than half an average year's worth of rain on some mountain and desert areas. As David Garrett reports, 26 million people are under flood warnings.
Stay safe, stay home, and stay informed.
The warning before the storm. Satellite images show Hillary with the southwest of the U.S. on its path. Storm clouds and heavy rainfall forecasted until Monday. California, a state renowned for heat and sunshine, got drenched. Hillary is the first tropical storm to hit the state in 84 years. They are rare because of dry air and cooling coastal winds. Palm Springs, 160 kilometers east of Los Angeles, is a city that typically gets 12 centimeters of rain a year. They received nearly 8 in just a few hours and could get twice that. Unprecedented flooding was all around. People could not believe their eyes.
It's quite amazing. I've never seen anything like this.
In nearby Cathedral City, the streets of the desert resort were deserted. Schools and airports have been closed. Thousands are without power. Residents stayed inside and heeded warning.
Avoid unnecessary travel. If you do not need to be on the road, please don't get in your car. Make sure your emergency kit and essential devices are on hand.
This is why Californians were told to stay off roads. Accidents were common as drivers grappled with treacherous conditions. Some roads were barely passable. The storm moved over Los Angeles and headed northwest towards Las Vegas. Interstate 8, the road towards Phoenix, was blocked by boulders which slid off the hills in the storm. Famed for being dry, arid and very hot, Death Valley in California saw heavy showers. Video filmed by the National Park Service showed water gushing through its barren plains, taking sand and rocks with it. Damage has been reported statewide despite Hillary being downgraded.
Fortunately, the storm has weakened to a Category 1 hurricane, with the maximum winds of at least 80 miles per hour. It is expected to downgrade further and make landfall as a tropical storm. Flash flooding, coastal flooding, as well as erosion. Dangerous rip currents and high seas. Damage to porches, awnings, carports, sheds, and unanchored mobile homes. Damage to large trees.
Some reveled in conditions. Experienced surfers took advantage of huge swells at Huntington Beach.
It's awesome. It's super warm right now, so it feels like being in a bathtub. It's nice and warm, and it's raining, so it feels like heaven's blessing us. It's awesome.
Some Californians have been evacuated or chose to move away. US President Joe Biden has ordered in federal aid. The Golden State is grey and wet. David Garrett, TVB News.
The Netherlands and Denmark said they would give F-16 warplanes to Ukraine. This after months of pleading by Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky for Western fighter jets to counter Russia's aerial superiority. The promise came one day after a Russian missile strike on a Ukrainian theater in a northern city killed 7 people and wounded almost 150 others. Nazvi Karim with more.
Volodymyr Zelensky has spent months asking for them, and on Sunday he got a chance to sit inside one. The Ukrainian president and Danish Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen settled into the cockpits of a US-made F-16 fighter jet at the Skidstrup Air Base in Denmark. At least 6 of the aircraft will be delivered to Ukraine by the new year, with another 8 to be handed over in 2024. Denmark said it would provide 19 F-16 fighters in total. This after the Netherlands also promised to donate F-16s to Ukraine, which is desperate to add air power to its counter-offensive in the east and south.
Together with the Netherlands, we are the first country to make a solid and concrete commitment to donate Western fighter jets. And hopefully others will follow now.
Days ago, the United States gave approval for the delivery of F-16s. The Netherlands has 42 jets available, though how many will be given to Ukraine has yet to be decided.
So the exact number I cannot give you, but we are working from the fact that at this moment we still have 42 in stock here in the country.
Zelensky described it as a breakthrough, hoping other countries will follow suit. Russia currently enjoys aerial superiority in the war, with Ukraine using all the Russian-made MiG-29s and Sukhoi jets. A coalition of European countries has already started training Ukrainian pilots to fly the F-16s and will be at least 6 months before they are ready for combat. Ukraine reported small gains on the eastern fronts, with around 3 square kilometers of territory retaken in Bakhmut. Nazvi Karim, TVB News.
Inflation in the city has eased slightly, with the composite consumer price index rising 1.8% in July. That's lower than the 1.9% recorded the month prior. The biggest price hikes were seen in alcoholic drinks and tobacco, followed by electricity, gas, and water, and then clothing and footwear. Netting out the effect of all the government's one-off relief measures, the year-on-year in CPI increase was 1.6% in July. A government spokesman said overall inflation will stay moderate in the near term. This as external price pressures are expected to recede further. That's the news. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.